The Atlas of Justice is an interdisciplinary collaboration that explores racism, policing, and the many forms of justice built by community groups in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The idea for an atlas emerged out of discussions with YVC participants in the 2019 University of Wisconsin Cartography Lab Design Challenge. On the main page, users are able to choose between maps, tools, and videos. The videos are produced by the Youth Video Collective. The tools allow users to have a specific, more interactive experience with the city of Milwaukee, while the maps allow them to explore the experience of one specific individual. Breaking the Map is an interactive map that allows the user to reimagine maps created in the 1930s by the Homeowners Loan Corporation. These maps gave grades to arbitrary regions of Milwaukee, with the lowest grades normally going to regions that had a lot of people of color living in them. This interactive map allows the user to click on any region and learn more about how it was historically defined. They can then break the map to imagine it from a new perspective. They can ask for help in order to learn how to use the map, including how to sort the zones, whether by compactness or grade, and once they're done, they can print their results in order to save the map. So they can drag any of the zones over to the map in order to imagine them from a new perspective. They can change the base map to something that is blank, or a light map, a dark map, or a street map of modern Milwaukee. They can then reset the map, and they are able to continue to figure out new perspectives and new ways to define these historical zones. Visions is a map that asks users to imagine anything on a blank map of Milwaukee, not based on prior experiences. They can add features, which include preset icons or ones that they draw themselves. They can also add shapes and lines to the map. They can change the base map, and they can print the results when done. For example, someone could zoom into the neighborhood that they grew up in, add a point, and select a preset icon. Then, if they want to imagine a school in this neighborhood where they grew up, they can select a color for it, draw a box, and also draw freeform on top of it. They can continue to change the color as they draw and change the line width as well. They can add the icon and then also add a line in between, double-clicking to save, and then changing the color and width of the line as they would like. They can continue to add features, and when they're done, they can print. This map tells the experience of Darren, a man who went to see some fireworks, but instead was corralled down North Avenue with other people of color by a bunch of police officers. This was not the most direct route home. Everyone just had to follow the orders of the police. This is a scrolly telling style story, so the user is able to view the story from his perspective as they scroll through. We use an orange person icon that matches some of the other icons in other maps in the atlas. The white text indicates a relatively neutral part of the story. Orange indicates heightened emotion and fear, and red indicates the presence of police. As the user scrolls through, the perspective and the zoom level changes to match what Darren is experiencing at this portion of the story. By facing west, the user is able to understand the perspective of Darren as he is forced to walk down the street. Different transition times allow for different moods in the story, with longer transition times meant to indicate importance and dramatic moments, and shorter transition times meant to indicate fear. I won't scroll through the entire story right now. Instead, we'll zoom to the end. After scrolling through, the user is able to see how far Darren had to travel out of his route in order to get home. There's also a graphic that shows how much longer his route was compared to the most efficient route that he could have taken. Overall, the user is able to experience his route from his perspective, and it takes a while to scroll through, but this matches Darren's true experience. This map tells the story of Chris and his experience in the different parts of Milwaukee. He designed this static map in the 2019 UW-Madison Cartography Lab Design Challenge. We then converted this map into an interactive map. The default base map is the Hulk map, which was a historical housing map giving different grades to different zones, but the user can also switch to a light, a dark, or a streets base map. The Hulk map, however, allows people to see how his experience relates to these historical zones and the impact they still have today. The user is able to ask for help as to how to use different parts of the map. They can display his route as a static map. They are constrained in terms of zoom to just Milwaukee. They can also find out features about the map, and they can remove the static route. Finally, the users can play Chris's story, and it will sequence through automatically, told at his own pace. The user does not get to scroll through the story themselves because Chris is the one telling the story, so he controls the pace, which controls the tone and the mood of the story. After viewing Chris's story, users have the option to tell their own story with the Storyteller tool. They're reminded that maps are a tool that allow for the telling of stories and not just navigational aids. When they open the map, they can use the Help menu to learn that they can add an icon, change the base map, and sequence through their story once it's complete. When they add an icon, they can pick from a selection of 20 icons that include both human and non-human icons. They can add text and change the color of the text. They can continue to add icons. And they can sequence through the story once it's complete. At any time, they can remove an icon or change the base map.